All right, we're here. We're live. It is 10:37 p.m. I don't know that we've done a space this late, but they say peer pressure is a bad thing to give into. But Bree peer pressured me into this, and she was way too encouraging when I asked about potentially doing this space. So blame Bree for us being on here this late at night. Hopefully, you guys have a drink in your hand or have had several so far tonight. Let's get after it. Florida State picks up a 4-star commitment, a blue chip running back. I don't know. Let's talk with Zach about it. Let's talk with Zach and see what his thoughts are. But I won't go too deep into it. If you're listening, if you're watching, hit the share button. If you're on YouTube, hit subscribe. We would certainly appreciate that. Zach, did you know you'd be working late tonight, or did this kind of come out of nowhere?
It came out of nowhere, honestly. Like, I don't think anyone had an idea that he was gonna that Sam Singleton was gonna make his decision tonight. Was told by multiple sources at FSU that he just kind of like randomly called them up and committed to the staff, Coach Yak and Coach Norvell. And that's kind of what stemmed the reports today of him being committed before he actually went ahead and announced it on Twitter like an hour or so afterwards.
Yeah, we were talking about that offline, and a lot of people were. I thought we had another troll moment for our some friends, but shout out to the folks that got it right. You know, we give people a hard time when they screw stuff up. So shout out, pat on the back for getting something right. Did you feel good about Florida State? There were no crystal ball predictions in here. A 4-star that, you know, doesn't have a crazy ton of offers that I've seen. Missouri has offered, but then some smaller stuff with Eastern Carolina and you know, Alabama A&M. But he had visited Florida, he had visited Tennessee, visited Clemson. You know, so just thoughts on this commitment. Is this something that surprised you? Did you think he was going to lean FSU whenever he did commit?
Yeah, I think after his official visit to Florida State at the end of June, I was told by multiple people around him on that visit that he had indicated in some form or fashion that he was coming to Florida State. There was no sense that he was going to announce that decision until after the end of July, because he had already planned to either go to Tennessee or Penn State in that last week of July. He ended up going to Penn State. So they were the other school in the mix. FSU is the only OV he took over the summer. And like you mentioned, his offer list is interesting. He's got offers from like LSU, Miami, Kentucky, Penn State, and a few others, Michigan, Tennessee. So there's some good schools on there. I think Florida State was probably the school most, involved with him throughout the process. This kind of sparked up back in, I think it was March. He was actually on campus for FSU Relays, which is a track meet that Florida State hosts for high schools and college prospects or college athletes at FSU every year. And he was competing there with his school, Fleming Island, out of Orange Park. And I actually went to go watch him run. He was running in one of the most highly contested heats in the 100 meter. And then the day after, Florida State convinced him to visit campus on that Sunday. So that the meet was on a Saturday and he visited on a Sunday. And that's kind of what sparked this up. A few months later, they scheduled that OV. That's kind of what sold Singleton on Florida State. He ends up making his decision a few days into August.
Brendan put out a pretty good scouting piece. I love the scouting work that Brendan does. I think he does a great job with film and seeing things. What do you think about this recruitment? What do you think about this recruit? What are your big takeaways with Singleton's game and what he brings at the next level?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing to note is he's got legit verified speed. He clocked a 10.86 in the 100 meter dash already, and he might go ahead and run track again. To check with him on whether he plans to early enroll or if he stays in the spring semester at his high school and runs track again. But he's got legit speed. That's seen on his tape. He's got burst and long speed. You can see in Brendan's scouting report. There's multiple clips where he just outruns the entire defense, which is something you like to see out of a high school prospect at the running back position. There's a few negatives to his game, in my opinion. I think the one thing to note is he's coming off a recent hamstring injury. So that'll be worth, keeping an eye on heading into his senior year. And his production's been pretty good. He hasn't had over a 1,000 yard season yet at Fleming Island, but I think he went for like 900 this past his junior season. So he definitely can improve on that. And there's some few things with his running style. I think he runs a little upright for what you'd like to see. Obviously you want to keep your shoulders square and running downhill, not upright. And I think that kind of speaks to him being a sprinter, right? Like he runs the 100-meter dash in track, and I think that's kind of the running style you like to see out of a sprinter. And you see that carry over to the football field. And obviously that's a good thing that the speed translates, but you want to, write that technique. And a few other things that Brendan noted that I agree with is on tape, he doesn't show a ton of wiggle or power. I think those are the two aspects of his game that he can improve on heading into the college level. And I think those two things will help him be more of a complete back. But the intangibles like the speed and burst and acceleration are things that he can build on heading into the Florida State in his freshman year.
Do you have any idea? I mean, I know when kids are like this great at the and I added Prime. If you guys have questions for Zach, I'm happy to add you to the space. You can shoot me a DM. If you're on YouTube, you can comment. If you're not on YouTube, go subscribe over there while you're listening, and let's get those numbers up a little bit if you don't mind. But if you guys have a question, Prime, I'll add you here in just a sec. But Zach, with the speed, Florida State fans are excited this year about the potential of having some game changers in the return game on the field. Do you know if he returns kicks or punts at the high school level?
I actually don't know. I assume so with his speed, but I haven't from the clips that I saw from Brendan. I'm out of town right now, so I'm kind of running a little bit without some info on his game. I haven't sat down and watched his tape yet. But from Brendan's article, I don't see any clips of him being a kickoff or punt returner. But as you've seen with FSU, they value running backs with speed at as their returners. Like we've seen them already in fall camp use Trey Benson as a kick returner. Sure. He's a guy that's extremely fast and probably one of the fastest players on Florida State's team this year. So I definitely could see Florida State using him in that role at the next level.
Good stuff. Prime, what you got going on tonight, man? How you doing?
What's up, guys? How's everybody doing?
Doing well.
Just wanted to I had a couple questions for Zach, but just wanted to shout out to Leroy Butler, Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah.
Adding to the DBU for FSU, and that's awesome for him and his family, and I'm super excited for that. So the two questions I have for Zach is, what is his high school competition like? Is he, I know he's got the speed, but is he playing against like lower level competition? Because he's a 4-star, but he's also doesn't have the offers that a kind of a 4-star would have. And then second question is Samson. Like, what are your, obviously, crystal balls for LSU, but do we have a shot?
Yeah, so to start, I'm not too familiar with Fleming Island. Viewing the tape and reading some of what Brendan said, I don't think he's facing the best competition in the state of Florida. But you got to think he's in the state of Florida. I mean, this is where some of the best football in the country's played. So I'm not doubting that he's going up against some good players. I'll have to dig more into that and kind of see. I don't even know what classification Fleming Island plays in. That's usually a good indicator. If they're in a higher classification, they're probably playing better competition. But with Shelton Sampson, like you mentioned, 5-star wide receiver out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, announcing his commitment tomorrow. Right now, if I had to put in a crystal ball, it'd probably be for LSU. There was some good buzz from when I was hearing about Florida State and Sampson, but personally, I don't think it's enough for me to think that he's going to end up at FSU. I don't think FSU is going to stop recruiting him because he's got some strong ties to this staff, including, Louisiana area recruiter David Johnson and his former head coach at his high school, a Catholic high school in Baton Rouge, Gabe Fertitta, who's now on staff at FSU. So I expect them to keep recruiting him, but I do think that LSU probably lands him tomorrow.
If we somehow just miraculously landed him, would that affect Hakeem Williams?
By effect, you mean like would it hurt FSU's chances of getting?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't think so. Like I don't think wide receiver is a position where if one guy, a high profile guy, commits, like that turns away other options. I think that would probably excite Hakeem. I mean, right? Like I think if a 5-star prospect is buying into what Norvell's doing at Florida State, I think that probably only validates Hakeem, interest in Florida State even more, right? Because you look at the other schools that are involved with Hakeem. It's Georgia, it's Texas A&M, it's Miami. Like a lot of these schools are doing really well in the recruiting trail. Florida State's doing all right. They're not doing amazing, but I think if a guy if they land Shelton Sampson, I mean that'd be monumental. That'd be a massive win, especially beating out the hometown school in LSU. Which is something that is not really done for guys that are especially from the city of Baton Rouge. So yeah, I think it'd be monumental, and I don't think it hurts. I think it only help with Hakeem.
Prime, I appreciate you, my man.
Hey, thank you guys. You guys have a good night.
You too, buddy.
You too, bro.
Insight.
Yeah, I don't feel great about Hakeem. Actually, I take that back. Yeah, I don't think we land Hakeem. I do think, and I know you don't get anything for finishing second, I do think Florida State's doing a really good job with that recruitment. And if Hakeem was from probably anywhere but Baton Rouge, I probably would feel good about, or anywhere, in that area of Louisiana. But if he was from anywhere else, I'd feel a lot better. But I do like what Florida State's done there. I heard some of that buzz too, and I think they're doing a pretty good job. But I don't know that anybody has a great shot at going up against LSU when it's for a kid from Baton Rouge. So I think Florida State's going to finish second here. But like I said, keep recruiting him. See what happens as the year goes on. A couple of people commented Fleming Island is 7A. Thank you for the updates there to everybody that's messaging. Let's talk about this real quick, and then I'll get cracking on. Yak, David Johnson, he, gets some flack, gets some scorn at times from the fan base, who are upset with the way that running backs have been recruited. How big of a win is this for him?
I think it's a big win. I would have liked to see Florida State go ahead and land a guy like Dalen Smothers, who committed to Oklahoma, but I think Sam Singleton was their number 2 guy on the board behind Smothers. And those are the 2 guys at the position that they've hosted on official visits thus far in the 23 cycle. And they go 1 for 2 there. And I like that. I think Florida State and David Johnson have needed a blue chip guy out of the high school ranks at that position. We've talked about it at length, right? Like Mike Norvell has only done great things with running backs throughout his tenure at Memphis. And even early on at Florida State with Jayshon Corbin and some of the other guys that have come through. So, yeah, I think this is a good win. I'd like to see them build on it. We're going to dig. There are a few other options that they could turn to. One is a Utah 4-star running back commit, Michael Mitchell. There's some things at play that I think would have to work out for Mitchell before Florida State goes full in on him. But he's a guy to monitor because I think he's a really talented back that Florida State would certainly like to add to this class if he gets everything right. So yeah, I like this get for David Johnson and FSU, and I think this serves as like kind of a stepping stone to build on.
Yeah. Let's get Kraken in here as Kraken's coming in. Nobody's even on tonight because it's a late night and this was kind of just a pop-up, but always want to show love to the people that show love to the space. Shout out thegramco.com. If you put an order in tonight for the next hour, up until midnight, you put an order in tonight and use the code TJ25, we'll send you some free candy and some free gummies, get you some free samples going out your way because Florida State got to commit. So if you've been on the fence about ordering Gramco, or if you didn't do it on the space earlier today, shame on you, but You got lucky for waiting. We'll send you some free stuff if you order from thegramco.com. Code is TJ25 to save 25% and pick up some freebies tonight. So order tonight in the next hour and 8 minutes. If it's before 12 Eastern or by 12 Eastern, I'll even give you that minute. 12 o'clock Eastern tomorrow morning. If you get an order in before then, we'll get you some free stuff out. So shout out thegramco.com, TJ25 at checkout. Kraken, what's going on, my man?
Man, I just want to get on and quote the famous Jameis Winston. Just put a smile on your face, my brothers. We got a fucking skill player commit. Thank you, Jesus. Somebody who's good, too. God damn, thank you. Lord, I just want to go, like, give money to my church over and above. I'm so excited about having someone that I don't have to fucking rationalize and, like, you know, try to convince myself that if he gains 20 pounds and, if he, you know, works on his sprinting, he'll gain a second in the 40. You know, like, we have a player. It is just outstanding. I want to thank CJ Wilson for talking me off the cliff a couple weeks ago when he didn't show up to the July event. And, you know, he let me know that he wasn't supposed to be there and whatnot because I was mad as hell. I'm just so fucking ecstatic that we got a skill player. Secondly, I want to say fuck War Chant for ruining that man's commitment. I know this isn't the fuck War Chant space. You're not on that shit, TJ, but here I am. Fuck you, War Chant, for ruining that young man's commitment. It's fucked up. Thank you, Zach. As I quote tweeted, the real news posted some shit, and we knew what was up. So just thank you, 247, for your work. TJ, thank you for the fucking space for me to come in here and yell about Florida State because I'm a psychopath. Fuck Miami. Fuck Clemson. Fuck Florida. Hard candies over Canes. Go Noles. Let's go.
I think we should start calling them the Hard Candy Canes. I think that's a great nickname that we just unintentionally made up. Kraken, you're the man. I can't wait to hang out with you in New Orleans, bro. Zach, you gonna go to New Orleans? You gonna work in the game? I don't know if you cover. Do you cover games like that or not really?
I do. I actually haven't been to an away game yet. Like at 247. That's usually Chris or Brendan. I might go. I'm kind of busy at the start of that month. But I'll definitely be tuned in from afar. I don't know if I'll be actually be going to the game in person.
Bro, just skip the game and come tailgate with us and come party at Kraken's bar the night before.
Yeah, that sounds like a bet.
Let's put in some PTO, man. Zach and Brendan got this. So good stuff. Yeah, I misspoke or I don't remember doing it, but I may have misspoken. Yeah, I was talking about Samson being from Baton Rouge, not Hakeem Williams. If I made an error there, I had a couple people message me and then somebody tweet me. Yeah, talking about Samson being from LSU. It's 11 o'clock at night, y'all. Y'all get off my back and let me live a little bit.
Give him a break, guys.
Sheesh, man. 2 spaces in one day. You see how the people treat you? Or treat me, I guess. Shout out Garnet Gold, the only place you should be shopping for your FSU gear. Garnet Gold, Spaces 15. I don't think that tax-free thing lasts much longer, so y'all need to jump on the train of that. If you haven't already, garnetgold.com. Spaces 15 saves you 15%, and then you save another 7% thanks to the tax-free week, and that might go through the weekend. It might just be done tonight, so get a Garnet Gold order in while you're celebrating the 4-star commitment from a running back, a blue-chip running back, which we like to see. All right, somebody asked about Jordan Pride. Is there any worry about that commitment? Are you hearing anything? Are you allowed to say anything on anything you may be hearing? Or I have nothing. I'm not aware of anything. Somebody just asked that kind of randomly.
Yeah. So Jordan Pride, I think what people are worried about is the fact that he only visited Florida at the end of July. I think there's a couple things at play. He just transferred high schools. He was at Bluntstown. Now he's over at IMG in Bradenton. I think it was kind of difficult because with kids at IMG, right, like they're boarding there. So they're not with their parents. A lot of the rides that they're getting to these schools are from coaches or trainers or guys that are in that area. So I think travel is a little bit difficult. Florida State wasn't able to really get any IMG kids up on that weekend. So I think that's part of why that happened. You'd like to see him get back for a couple home games this fall. I think that would probably smooth things over a little bit. I think UF Texas A&M. There are a few other schools that are trying to flip him from Florida State. He's a really talented defensive back prospect that committed I believe last summer, actually. So, yeah, it'll be tough to hold on to him. Just that's the same as a guy like Cam Davis, right? Like Alabama and Georgia are full in on him. But they've maintained that they're solid at FSU. So we'll see. I think, like I said, it'll be important to get him back on campus for some home football games this fall.
Talked a little bit about LSU with the Samson question. Somebody asked about Ricky Collins. Any chance there for FSU? Will they continue to recruit him even if he does pick LSU here in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know they've maintained contact, even though we've kind of reported that Brock Glenn at the time was their main guy. I know FSU is maintaining contact with Ricky Collins. I think the expectation is that Ricky goes ahead and commits to LSU here soon. I'm not sure whether they'll maintain contact after he commits to LSU. That's something that they like to do, but it's definitely not going to be like they're all out recruiting him. They'll probably talk to him like once or twice every couple of weeks. Yeah, I don't expect them to fully pursue him moving forward. I think they'll probably try and look to find another quarterback target here in the next couple of weeks.
Two guys that were on campus last week. Do you expect movement there? Do you expect that to be maybe later down the road? What are thoughts around that?
I don't expect movement with the guys you mentioned. I think it's Kason Wiseman and Ryan Brown are the two quarterbacks that were that we noted at the Seminole Showcase event. I think Wiseman is set to commit in the next couple of days. I'm pretty sure. We confirmed that Florida State has not offered him yet, and I don't expect them to before his announcement. He said he's found a home, so looks like he'll commit elsewhere soon. And then Ryan Brown, we checked in with sources right after the showcase event and didn't expect Florida State to offer like any of those prospects in attendance, at least in the immediate future. That could change, obviously, if those guys have some nice senior seats. But I think they probably broadened their scope and trying to find a guy, a guy that hasn't worked out for them yet, and we'll see. We'll definitely be tuned in with it, and we'll keep you guys posted on 24/7 on where they're heading at the quarterback position.
I assume. I mean, this has kind of been the talk. This is what people have kind of assumed, and it seems to track fairly well. I'll steal a line from Brendan, but you would have to assume that they go portal after this year, right? Not to get too far ahead of ourselves on a Samuel Singleton commitment space, but that would kind of be your vibe. Yeah,
I agree with that. I think that makes the most sense, right? Like if we're predicting that Jordan Travis is not going to be here next season, which is a possibility, right? Like there's still a possibility that he comes back. But if everything goes right, he could move on to the pro ranks, if he has a nice season. So we'll see. But I think it makes a lot of sense for Florida State to go portal after this year. I think there'll be some nice options that, some backups of some really nice schools that probably head into the portal. I think Florida State could probably land one of those guys. I'm not sure that they're in it for a true, elite quarterback in the portal, but I think they can get someone of pretty high quality through the portal, and they'll probably have better success at that than trying to reach in the high school ranks. And, you never know. There might be a quarterback prospect that turns up over the next, 6 months or so, 5 months or so, heading into December. So we'll see. They're definitely keeping the options open in the high school ranks. I know that. But I would not be surprised if they go ahead and try to add someone through the portal after the season.
You see that a lot, right? With guys that are committed for a long time, and then a coaching change happens, and all of a sudden a new crop of quarterbacks is up, right? So I don't, that's a dangerous way to live, just hoping that you get somebody decommitting. But Sam Howell did that. Kid that was committed to Florida for the entire Evers did that, and decommitted, went to Oklahoma last year, and so that's not super uncommon. And again, you're kind of hoping for some luck if that's the way you're recruiting quarterbacks, but the chance of that does exist, right? So it's not like an impossible thing. Somebody asked this. I asked you a little earlier, but somebody on YouTube. So shout out the YouTube listeners. We got some good numbers over there tonight. So if you're not subscribed to the YouTube, go hit that. My main man Ingram Smith's going to be on a panel with us on Sunday night. You guys don't want to miss that. So Shout out to Ingram for checking in tonight. Sanone's going to be on there. David Hale from ESPN and a few more guys. We got Tomahawk Nation, the Osceola Rivals site is going to be there. And then I'm missing somebody. Oh, Carter from the Democrat. But Timmy asked, what was the timeline? Did we expect this? Somebody tweeted me that he announced earlier in the week that he was going to commit tonight, or was this a shocking commitment? I know you already kind of answered that earlier in the space, but did you see that he was? Did you see him say that earlier this week, or again? I thought we kind of didn't expect this very much.
No, I mean, if he did, I missed that. Like I said, I've been away. I haven't been in Tally over the past few days, but usually we pick up on something like that. So if he did say that, I missed it. That's my bad. But from who I talked to, like from the Florida State staff, it didn't seem like they were expecting to land a commitment on a Friday night. They weren't surprised when they heard it was FSU for him. But I don't think they were expecting to get a phone call today from Singleton.
Any other questions? You guys have anything else for Zach? Or I can let Zach go and we can just hang out. Zach, I mean, you can stay as long as you want, but I know you're not at home and out and about. So I appreciate you for hanging out for the time that you have. But any other questions for Zach, whether, again, they be on Twitter, whether you guys want to request and chat, or if you want to send me a YouTube, whatever is fine. So if not, I'll let Zach get out of here and we can just kind of talk some foolishness for another 20, 30 minutes and go home. But let me give a quick shout out before I let Zach go to my guy, Tony Perez over at DSP Insurance. I chatted with Tony a little bit tonight and got a little bit of an update, got some more information from them. Not only can they help you with employee benefits if you've got a business or if you're in HR, they can also take care of your personal insurance stuff. Tony doesn't specialize in that specifically, but he does get kind of a referral thing. We can help out a Knoll, and we can also get you taken care of with personal insurance like home and auto insurance. I think it's a pretty limited crowd that is in here and owns a business or is in HR and could potentially use Tony's services for the employee benefits. But I know everybody in here has car insurance if they're driving a car, or most of you probably do. We'll say you should have car insurance or homeowners insurance. I would say give my man Tony a call. Let's see if he can save you a little bit of money. It's prime. It's prime time 2121. Or if you just shoot me a DM, he'll do a free consultation. See if he can save you money on car insurance or home insurance. If he can, great. If not, stick with who you've got. But if you can get covered in all 50 states, if you need insurance, if you have insurance and want to see if you can save some money because inflation's crazy or just because you buy too many gummies, hit my man Tony up, hit primetime 2121. If you DM me, I'll go ahead and get you hooked up with Tony. We'll get you guys taken care of as far as an insurance perspective. If you're driving around without insurance, please give Tony a call because that's ridiculous. But thank Tony for his support. It's DSP Insurance, and we'll get you taken care of and hooked up there. All right. I saw Chad request. Chad, I don't know if you have anything else or if that was is it called a butt request on here? Like it's like a butt dial if you request on accident and then jump back off. But Chad, if you want to jump in, I mean, you're more than welcome at any time. I've got one more question here on the timeline, and then we'll get you out of here, Zach, unless somebody else jumps in. Any info on England? Is it Jeremiah England that they're talking about?
Yeah, Jeremiah England Jr. He's a defensive back that Florida State was involved with a few months ago. We've kind of reported on Nicholson 7 over the past few months, actually several times, that we were told that communication has slowed from FSU side with England. They haven't been as hard in pursuit as they once were. So I don't expect he's announcing a commitment tomorrow, I believe, August 6th. I don't expect that to be FSU. I put in a crystal ball prediction for Kentucky. I was told by someone close to him that's likely where he'll pick tomorrow. And, hey, Stoops is doing a great job recruiting defensive backs. So, yeah, that's the expectation. FSU, unlike some of the other DBs that are considering Kentucky, FSU wasn't truly involved here, at least over the past several months.
Boy, this is a fun one to follow that one up. Let's talk about Kirkland. Somebody just DM'd me asking about that one.
Oh, God. Yeah, so this is an interesting one, right? Florida State seemed like, they kind of held the edge after he showed up for that end of July event, the Seminole Showcase event on the 30th. But I think Kentucky, Brendan put in a crystal ball. I'm kind of on a sabbatical right now with Chris Nee. I don't really like the crystal ball feature, especially with how crazy NIL is now. people are going to say, oh, NIL is not involved in recruiting. It's not, they're not allowed to be, but it is. And it's pretty crazy behind the scenes wise. So, yeah, I definitely think that NIL is involved in this one. I don't think it's the sole factor for Kirkland. And I don't want to accuse, I'm not accusing any kid of choosing a school solely based on NIL, but I do think NIL is involved in this recruitment. And right now, I don't think FSU wins out. That's just where I'm going to leave it. Kentucky's doing let's just say they're investing a lot into recruiting defensive backs. And I think Kirkland is someone that they target and value highly.
Yeah. I'll try and be somewhat careful with how I say this. But I feel like I have a little more freedom than you do. So, well, sure. Not, maybe not freedom, but whatever. Maybe I just care less. Maybe I don't have a job to protect or like sources or stuff. But my understanding here, and I think when the average fan or, when somebody just hears that that Kentucky's going to beat out FSU in an NIL race. I think on the surface that sounds pretty bad. Because you should never lose a battle to Kentucky, but I think there's just a different level of investment that Kentucky has for this player than Florida State does. I think when you think about what the potential top of Florida State's class could look like, and when you look at what the potential top of Kentucky's class could look like, they're very different, right? Florida State's in it and doing a good job for guys like Sampson and guys like Williams and landed guys like Falk and Simmons and Kearney. And a lot of those would just not even be possible for Kentucky. They just wouldn't even be in them. Right. And so I think that kind of an unintended, not consequences, but an unintended kind of side effect of NIL is that, your mid-tier programs, your Kentuckys of the world, or your just whomever, right? They're going to value a four-star recruit and really go all in on him like a kid like who are we talking about here? Sorry, I'm losing it. Kirkland or a recruit of that level, because they know that's about the top of their class. This is my take. I don't have access to Kentucky's books of what's going on, but I think that Kentucky's just willing to spend more on this level of recruit, and Florida State just doesn't have an unlimited number of resources and doesn't value recruits the same way that Kentucky may. So that's kind of my takeaway there, is that I don't think you're really losing a battle. I think you're choosing to get up and walk away from the table at certain levels because of what that you're taking bigger swings. I also think if you miss on some of those swings, you may see Florida State swing back around on some of these guys once it gets back closer to signing day, because the bar has been set and it's pretty easy to see kind of where things are and kind of go from there. So that's kind of my takeaway on that. I don't know if you want to agree, disagree, or just go to the next question, but that's my thoughts around that one.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a good explanation of it. And another thing is if you're an FSU fan, would you want to see FSU value a four-star offensive tackle or a four-star edge rusher over a borderline four-star defensive back, right? I think Kenton Kirkland's a really good player, but the Florida State has needs on their roster, and I wouldn't specify a safety that probably isn't going to contribute in year one or maybe even year two as a guy that they need to be fully invested in. So, yeah, but what you said, plus I think a little bit of what positions they're prioritizing kind of plays into this. And I agree with you. I think they kind of realize what's going on here and kind of have to take a step back and just and like you said, I think they could circle back on some of these guys closer to signing day, because they know the bar that's been set, and they can kind of circle back and re-enter the waters later on in the process. So, yeah, that's my take on it. It's hard, dude. It's really hard to talk about these things just because of all the weird, legislation in Florida and
implications and everything.
Yeah. So I don't want to implicate anyone, but yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I think I think in the current age of recruiting, it's really important to note on these things, right? Because if you're just, viewing this from the outside, you're like, why is Florida State constantly losing defensive backs to Kentucky? But there's obviously other factors at play. Kentucky's obviously, valuing defensive backs, I guess specifically ones that Florida State is truly in on this cycle. But yeah, I mean, it's clear that Mark Stoops wants to beef up their defensive backcourt. So that's my take on it. I don't want to expand it anymore and get anyone in trouble. I'm not as, I'm a little bit more corporate than TJ over here.
We had Cole Hain on earlier, and he said, I asked him if there was a game he was looking forward to more between Florida and Miami, and if he wanted to talk any crap. And he's like, yeah. So following on you on Twitter, you definitely have a way of stirring up the opposing fan bases. And I was like, oh gosh, Jeff Cole Hain's like watching my tweets and sees me trolling Canes fans all day. So shout out to that laughable group of losers. All right, I got one more for you. All right, I had a couple more come in, and so we'll keep you on and then keep going. Do we have any kind of a timeline? Again, shout out Timmy on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. If you're on your mobile phone, you have to swipe down on the chat, and the subscribe button is right there. But smash that for me. I'd appreciate it. If you are listening on the Twitter Spaces, go hit the YouTube afterwards and smash that subscribe button. Certainly would appreciate it. A couple more. Somebody asked about Blake Nicholson. A lot of crystal balls in his way. Do we have any kind of a timeline? Is that like a next couple of days, next week, next month? What's your thought on when Blake Nicholson hopefully makes it official to FSU?
Yeah, I was told like by the end of next weekend. So not this week, but around the August 13th date is what I was told. I don't know. He hasn't officially set a date yet. I'm checking in with him almost daily on what his plan is. So when I know, I'll report it officially. But I was given kind of a within the next week or so timeline for when he plans to go public.
A lot of people feel really good about that one. I'll follow this up or follow that one up with this. A lot of people feel really, really good there. Does the timeline or the distance between the end of the visit and the crystal balls and then, him ended up making a decision. Does the timeline worry you at all for Florida State's chances there? Not that you're saying it's 100% Florida State, but I think you kind of understand what the question there is.
Yeah. I don't think it worries me that much just because during his visit to Florida State, I asked a source close to him whether they thought he'd commit to Florida State on that visit. And I'm referencing the 4-day unofficial that he took to Tallahassee at the end of July. And I was told that there was no expectation that he was going to do that and that he was going to announce later in August. So it's not like he's veering from a plan to announce like right after or during the visit. I think this is kind of always the plan. He's a smart kid. He wants to go home, reevaluate things, make sure he's making the right decision. But I still like where FSU stands as of today.
Somebody asked, you were talking about recruiting, filling positions of need, different things. Do you have any idea what numbers look like this cycle? Like what kind of also shout out to my guy, Brett Thomas here that asked this question because he finished the question by saying, thanks, love the spaces and the content. So shout out to people that don't just ask a question, but also, tell us that they love us. So Seymour almost got off here earlier without telling me he loved me. So again, I need to be coddled a little bit, y'all. I need y'all to tell me this every once in a while. But any idea on numbers, what positions they're looking at, how many total they'll take? I'm not asking you to do a full breakdown of every, 2 quarterbacks, 1 running back, 3 wide receivers, but like just in general.
Yeah, I think they're probably gonna. I mean, if they get all the guys they want to get, or like the guys they're targeting, they'll fill up this high school class. But the thing with the transfer portal now, and I think they've shown this proof of concept already over the past 2 years, is you can really supplant ready-made talent onto your roster through the portal. It's the thing that the variable is, like you kind of mentioned this earlier, you can't predict where that help's going to come, right? Like you don't know that a really talented linebacker is going to head into the portal and then consider you.
Sure.
you can have, inclinations that a guy might enter the portal. I think a lot of schools are doing that now where they're kind of predicting or they're hearing through, back channels of whether a guy's going to enter the portal after the season. So we'll see. I think if they have guys they want and they land them, they'll fill up this class all the way. But I don't think they're going to go ahead and just fill up the class to fill the class, right? Like they don't want to reach for high school prospects when they can go and add a ready-made linebacker, a ready-made running back like they did this past cycle, like Trey Benson or Tatum Bassoon. So, yeah, I think they'll fill up the class however much they can with guys that are real targets for them. And then they'll head to the portal to fill in the remaining needs.
Yeah. All right, Tom Ortner. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Ortner, Tom. I don't know. Tom, how's it going, man? I can get the first name right. I can't guarantee a last name is going to get correct. You are on mute though, so you may have to take that off.
Rip Tom.
Oh,
all right,
you
got me now?
Yeah, you're good.
You got me now?
Yeah. How's it going?
All right. How's it going, brothers? Yeah, man, I was listening to y'all, and I'm kind of curious. Do you think Stoops is targeting RDBs, like trying to send a message to Alfred or something?
I don't know that. Like I mean, maybe, but that's not something I've been told or anything. That'd be pretty. I
mean, there's so many guys he could target. Like, that's more regionally. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I definitely get it. It's definitely been a weird thing to see. Whereas, like, Florida State's about to go land a high school defensive back, and then Kentucky comes out of nowhere. But I haven't been that or anything behind the scenes. Yeah, sorry about that motorcycle, man. I'm outside. All the kids are sleeping. Wives are sleeping and whatnot. And another question: what is, like, the state of Kentucky? What is their NLI rules? Like, is it comparable to the state of Florida, or? I don't know specifically what their legislation is. I know Florida's probably one of the worst to navigate through, just because the schools can't actually be directly affiliated with any of the deals going on. Like any of these deals that are going on through collectives or whatnot. The Florida State logo can't be involved in any graphics made, or the Florida State coaches can't assist in helping these athletes get deals directly with these companies. So I don't know what Kentucky's rules are. I'll look that up. But I know Florida has one of the worst to navigate through.
Yeah, I understand Florida's laws pretty well. I was just wondering. I mean, not to start a conspiracy theory, and I'm sure nobody's really cares what I got to say anyway. But, if Stoops has his hand in the pot, and he's like, hey, we need to give, allocate this amount of funds to this player and this player and this player. It's just strange. Strange to me.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's definitely been weird to see, like, Kentucky and every one of these races for these defensive backs. So, maybe Stoops is up to no good, man. Maybe he's trying to get back at FSU for not going ahead and hiring him. Who knows? But I doubt it, but that'd be pretty wild if so.
Gotcha. And I got one more quick question. I know you guys got other people to get to.
You're good.
What's say if a kid was in a camp in Alabama right now and he realized, or Alabama's not a good example because they're not really in camp yet, or they just started camp. But say another school like us is playing week 0, and a kid realizes he's not making the 2 deep. Could he transfer right now and be eligible this year?
You can't. So if you're not a grad transfer, there was I think it was the June 1st deadline. If you transfer after that, or if you enter the portal after that June 1st deadline, I'm pretty sure they enacted a thing where you have to sit a year unless you're a grad transfer. And that's why Florida State went ahead and added that the Jacksonville State defensive back transfer, Malik Feaster, who will graduate, actually graduated, I believe, today, and will roll at Florida State here soon. But yeah, if you're not a grad transfer, you're not able to be immediately eligible for this season if you enter the portal like right now, for instance.
Now you can't apply for a waiver is kind of the old way of doing it. And the typical rule there from the NCAA is that there is no rule. They just grant waivers whenever they want. If you're just good, well, or if you just really aren't good, but like if you have a big name, like what's the 5-star that left from Ohio State and went down to the little guy that went down to Miami?
Tate Martell.
Tate Martell, yeah, they granted for him, but if you got a sick grandma and you want to go live back at home, like the NCAA will deny you. So yeah, you can apply for a waiver. I can't imagine too many people get into, like, I can't imagine you see too much of it though right now, because like just how far behind people would be in not learning systems, not knowing systems. Like it'd be tough for them to make a true impact on that, whatever roster they went to, whether they went to ours or another one or whatever, so it's almost better to just stick it out and transfer at the end of the year, in my opinion.
Gotcha. And you guys have time for 2 more questions? I got 2 that just popped in my head real quick.
Let's roll, man.
All right, sure.
I get paid by the question, so it's all good.
Nice, brother. What do you think's going to be do you think Tate is a backup this year going into the season, or do you think it's a 50-50 with Duffy? Or I know y'all are at practice. So.
Yeah, I think Tate's definitely the second string quarterback for them this year. He's been running, I can't really say that, but he has. I expect him to be the second string quarterback heading into the season. I mean, that's pretty well noted. I think Duffy comes in at third for them, and you never know. Like if Duffy starts having some really great stretches towards the end of fall camp or heading into the season and in season practices, you could see him step up into that second spot. But for right now, Tate's definitely the guy backing up J-Trav.
Gotcha. And Courtney, like, do you think anyway we'll see Courtney not really at a inline, online tight end, but more of a H-back this year? Because he doesn't really have the size to be on the line, but I could see him with his skills being an H-back, like fullback type of deal. And looking back at Memphis before with Norvell, he really utilized that position. And I'm wondering, could that be him?
Yeah, I definitely think Brian Courtney's shown some really nice flashes throughout the beginning of fall camp. I know Brendan Sonnone just did a piece kind of outlining some of the newcomers that have made strides already through fall camp. And Brian Courtney was one of those. I think he was number 2 on the list. And he's a guy that's flashed almost every day. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know for sure that he'll get snaps, a good amount of snaps this upcoming year, but I definitely see him making an impact probably year 2 and definitely in year 3. I don't know whether they plan to bulk him up a little bit and make him an inline guy, or kind of use him how you said as an H-back. I know Norvell has used those types of guys before at Memphis, so we'll see. But I definitely like Brian Courtney and his skill set. I thought as a recruit he was kind of under-recruited and undervalued by a lot of other schools. So,
and I thought he was a 5-star. Like looking at his film, like I understand the level of competition, but I'm like, wow. I mean, this guy has it all. I mean, even in playing quarterback, just the athletic ability you can see there. Just
definitely. And he had a lot of benefits from enrolling early at FSU, which helped him a ton, and kind of getting used to the college system. Because, like you said, jumping from the level of competition up to Power 5, high level Power 5 play is hard. But he's flashed every day. Like I've been out there at multiple fall practices and have noted him making some nice plays. So definitely encouraging to see him doing well early in his career, and hopefully we see him kind of develop into that guy for FSU at tight end.
Nice. Are we at 85 right now then with the Jacksonville State guy?
Yeah, I believe so. I think there were 84 before they added him. So I believe that Florida State sits at 85 right now in scholarship count.
Cool. And one more question. I'm sorry to keep on bugging you guys, but I'm reading everywhere how, and I gotta agree with it, that Jordan Travis probably isn't top 5 quarterback in the ACC, and I agree with that. But the ACC is stacked at quarterback. Like, do you think there's another conference with better quarterbacks than the ACC?
I don't know of one. I mean, I think they return a bunch of awesome starters from this past season, and it's pretty crazy because I think J-Trav, like I was out there that first spring, I believe, under Norvell, or actually, we weren't out there that first spring. It was last year. Heading into that spring, like Jordan Travis was not great at throwing the ball. In this fall camp, like, man, he's really just improved so much in that aspect of things. Like, obviously, we know what he can do with his legs, and we saw that even in his first couple of years during the Willie era. But I think, like, man, he's just improved so much, and I think he could push that top 5 conversation even with the ACC being so stacked at the quarterback position.
Well, I mean, I was debating with a UF buddy of mine, and he was knocking Travis, saying he's not even top 5. I'm like, well, if he's the 6th best quarterback in the ACC, that could be top 10 in the damn country. I mean, it really could be.
Yeah, no, definitely. The ACC is definitely stacked, and I think he's improved enough, and he's added, like, even compared to this past season, heading into this fall camp, like, he's added like some really nice facets to his game. Like, some of the intermediate stuff, I can't like note specific things because like Florida State really doesn't want to like have some of the stuff noted on what they're excelling at in fall camp. But man, he's improved in a lot of facets of his game, and I really think he's going to have a nice season this upcoming year.
Can you cough one time and he's hitting those passes down the seam?
No, sorry. No, man, like, dude, yeah, it's been like tough to like report on some of the stuff just because like Mike Norvell is like really awesome to the media and letting us have like a ton of access. Like the amount of access we get is just so unparalleled to like any other school in the country. Like, he really wants us to be like the most informed media beat in the country on what's going on with this team. But we've got to play ball and try to keep it, behind the scenes a little bit to try and not, put them at a disadvantage with other schools trying to scout and stuff. So definitely like where Jay Trav's been. He's definitely improved in a lot of parts of his game, like you kind of mentioned. But yeah, man, I've really been impressed with this team so far throughout, I guess the first week or so of fall camp.
Nice. Yeah, I got a buddy that gets to see it out there, not with the media or anything, but gets to see some stuff. And he's telling me to look out for like 9-10 wins. Do you think that's overkill, or? Did I lose you guys?
No, I'm still here. I don't know. Zach may have gotten a call or something. Yeah, I think 9-10 is a little overkill. I think that there's a perfect scenario that 9 could happen. I think 10 is pretty outrageous, and I don't think the 9 is very possible. I think what has to happen to get to 9 is you've got to get off to an incredibly good start. You need to beat LSU to start, and then you need to beat Louisville as well. If you do both of those, you'll start out 4-0, and then there's a really good chance that you'll beat Wake the next week and start out 5-0, which, again, I said this earlier on the Spaces, I'm not predicting 5-0. But for Florida State to get to 9 wins, I think you have to start 5-0, because then I think you drop the next 2 to NC State and Clemson. I think you lose one more time to maybe one of your rivals, and you finish at 9-3 if you start 5-0. If you lose any of those first 5 games, then I think your record just goes down by that much, right? If you lose 2 of those games, then I think you go 7-5. If you lose one of those games, I think you go 8-4, right? And so there's a perfect scenario. Florida State will be in it in the game against LSU. They'll be in it in the game against Louisville. You'll be in it again in the game against Wake Forest. But, I think all those games are kind of coin flips. And so you're asking them to go 3-0 in coin flips. And that, that's just tough to do. That, nobody wins all of their coin flips. You usually go about 50% in your coin flips, right? And that's what they did last year. And that's just what most teams do. So, yeah, 9-3 is pretty unrealistic. 10-2, I don't see a path to getting there. I guess if you win 9, you could theoretically get a bowl win. But yeah, I think that 7-5 is what's most realistic, and 8-4 would be a good year.
I mean, he's basing this off of, I don't want to say what position he is there, but the improved special teams play. I mean, that takes a 50-50 games in my eyes to like 60-40 us for a lot of those games. Wake, Louisville. I mean, I think Louisville is the most important game of the year, and if we can go in there and win, just like, I don't know. I know I'm drinking the Kool-Aid and it's, 3 weeks before the season starts and all that, but man, I'm starting to believe maybe 10.
Whew.
And I'm drinking tonight though too, so I'm drinking.
I cut off a little earlier, so I cut back on drinking tonight. So I feel you there, Tom. I appreciate it, man. Some good questions there, bro.
All right, man. Y'all have a good night.
Take care.
You too.
Oh man, I threw Zach. If you need to go, you're more than welcome to run. I'm gonna add Ingram real quick and then get out of here. So we won't be too much longer. But if you need to go or if you want to hang out, whatever's fine.
Yeah, I'll let Ingram take the show. I'm gonna head out. Appreciate you, TJ. Appreciate everyone listening. We'll have a ton of stuff on Most 24/7 this month with fall camp. Carrying on. So appreciate you. What's up, Ingram? What's up, dog?
Yo, go subscribe to Noles 247 and just make your name Blostein's Burner or something. Let's give Zach some love for you guys subscribing. They got a great deal going on, 60% off.
Oh yeah, take advantage of it. We'll have some awesome stuff this season. I'm really excited with the addition of Trey Rowland. He's been awesome so far in his one-on-one series on OTB. And then obviously the X's and O's guys and Brett Nevitt, obviously the best baseball writer, reporter on the beat at FSU. So really excited about the team we got and make sure to take advantage of the deal. I appreciate TJ for hosting this and take it away, Ingram.
Yeah, just 22, 23 years old, hitting all the plugs. Zach is instant professional.
Man.
So.
Appreciate you, bro. Dude, it's gonna suck when my free hookup from Berg runs out. My because Berg's not there anymore to keep hitting my refresh button on the subscription. But
I think through a similar relationship I have, I'm clear till 2026. But I will agree when that day comes, I'll be like, damn.
Yeah, there
I'll
goes
pay for this again.
This is horrible. There goes $10 a month to chat with these losers on this message board. Oh man. I love the message board though, because they're you think people on Twitter are crazy, man. The message board goes.
Message board is the lifeblood of insanity. Absolutely.
Dude, and I really didn't get into it until Josh just kind of kept raving about the Amarius Mims thread. And I was just what's he talking about? All these people are crazy. And so then I start kind of poking around on the board. And Brendan's like, oh yeah, go on there and post the Bourbon podcast on there and stuff. You'll get some free views and blah blah blah. So I start poking around that board. That board is hilarious. I do go check up on quite a bit of stuff. I feel like not to go TMI here. Everyone's gonna log out when they hear this, but bathroom reading used to be they put a book next to the toilet or whatever. Right. If you're going to be in the bathroom for a few minutes. I just scroll the message board now when I'm in the bathroom.
The message board.
I mean, it's all just shit posted anyway. So I feel like it goes pretty hand in hand. So
I personally haven't been on the message boards a ton, but when I tell you, TJ, that I literally grew up on the message boards, I was on the tribal council clowning people as an 11-year-old, just loving it. I mean, it has been what I used to wake up in the morning as a high schooler and, be hungover and get up and talk shit on the message boards and stuff. So I haven't been in a while, but trust me, I have my message board PhD emeritus. So
it's amazing. Yeah, I'm telling you, I think it's 60% off, but I think it's $9, it's $10 a month or something. It's super cheap. You're spending more than that on Netflix now. It is worth it. And I don't get paid for 247 subscriptions. They don't sponsor the pod. I like some of those guys, but they don't even get paid based on you signing up, right? They're on salary, right? So I'll just kind of spread out all their business. But it's worth the $10 a month just to laugh at people. It is so worth it. If you like comedy and if you don't like it, just go cancel the month after, whatever. Tell your bank it was fraud. I don't care. But it is so you'll be hooked. It's a bad comedy. You just can't look away. It's so great. So, all right. On a slightly serious note, thank you if you guys hung out with us through that entire diatribe. I threw a tweet up in the top of the space. Well, before this, how you doing, Ingram? Are you on some scotch? What you got going on?
No, man, I'm just chilling on Friday night and got excited to see the commitment a couple hours ago, and then was going to just bop around on the internet for some second and do work, and then saw the space, so decided I'd jump in.
Good stuff. So I threw a tweet up in the top of the space. It sounds like it wasn't you that threw this tweet out there, but I did throw a tweet out on the top of the space.
Oh, is this an Oldcast tweet?
Oh, yeah.
No, we never break. You know, it's a mystery as to who actually tweeted that out.
Sometimes
TJ.
you can tell. Sometimes
yeah.
you can tell.
Sometimes it's used for the, thin veil of ambiguity as to who actually sent that out. But yeah. No, I mean, I think class is coming together really well, and I think I've said this for a month on the Nolecast and on spaces like this. I think Florida State has gotten their NIL house in much more of a collective order, and I think Florida State's going to start, recruiting much more to the historical back of their baseball card, and that's anywhere from maybe 6 to 14 or something like that. So, but as far as them getting really significant pieces, kind of that somewhat mirror some of the 2010 and 2011 classes that Jimbo Fisher put together. Yeah, I absolutely believe that could be true. Obviously, you got to get the kids in and develop them and have a broader, culture buy-in that was as important as the talent that Jimbo brought in during those first couple of classes. But look, we're not. Let's not all convince ourselves we're about to win a national championship in 2 or 3 years. But I certainly see this program operating internally at a level that it hasn't done since probably 2015.
For those that maybe haven't seen the tweet up in the top of the space, or maybe you're watching on YouTube, somebody tweeted at the Nolecast and said, #Tribe23 is beginning to feel #Tribe10ish. Again, that was the big class that kind of turned things around for Jimbo. If you know what I mean, let's revisit this tweet in 2026. #Go Noles. But fans say crazy things. Our friend that asked us a bunch of questions that was on here last year was drinking the 10-win Kool-Aid, right? And so I think that sometimes fans say crazy things, but then when you have somebody who is I don't know how to describe you guys, an insider, like a notable podcaster, people who like to drink a lot, whatever the name that we assign you or Bud, the Nolecast retweeted this and said, I can see it, but you have to execute. And so kind of maybe agreeing with the wild fan take, but yeah, so, but I like it. I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, you got to close, right? Like they close on a kid like Hakeem Williams. They pull in another offensive line target that's coming up. They get the linebacker recruit, maybe close well in a couple other places. It's got the makings of a class like that. Now, if you swing and miss on like five of those,
I think you'd need to grab another meaningful player along the defensive line and another, plus addition to the secondary, and you can start to, and then ultimately decide whatever you're going to try to do at quarterback here, whether it's broadening the board, just keeping it where it is, and going pure transfer or what. Obviously you're going to need to probably get a little bit of clarity at that situation, but if you're adding a real high-quality high school running back, which is the first time you've done that in too long, and you're getting 2 quality wide receivers that you feel real comfortable with personal evaluations, and then you have the potential to really kind of blow the top off with getting the Williams kid, and you continue to do the transformational recruiting that you've done along the offensive line, and what this defense class is going to look like. Yeah, I mean there are significant pieces coming together that are the type of pieces that in this conference get you to win in 10 games. I mean, the ACC is a clown show and fucking horrible, and the TV network is literally the most embarrassing piece of media that's put out there by like a widely distributed entity. But the good thing while you're in this conference is that there's only legitimately 3 or 4 schools that recruit at a high level along the line of scrimmage, and if you stockpile enough pieces along the defensive and offensive line, the path to winning 10 games in this conference is pretty navigatable for a conference or for a school like Florida State.
Yeah. Somebody hit the DMs. Actually, not somebody. Kraken. Kraken's not just somebody. He is the man. Scotch Ingram is my favorite Ingram persona. So, yeah, without a doubt. I mentioned this before on the spaces. I've talked about on pods, but the night we beat Miami, and almost better than the win, when Ingram got on there and said, we usually try and keep this pretty PG and pretty kid friendly, but fuck that tonight. Like that, those are just like the best words that I've ever heard. Like, like you could just tell Ingram was so full of himself. Like, oh, it was It was fantastic. So
just legitimately excited. Man.
Oh,
legitimately.
Man,
now, 40 minutes in when I had drinking, probably 12 ounces of scotch over the process of the podcast, I started to get a little slippy. But the initial parts of that podcast are purely based off 38 years on the exterior, 12 or 13 years on the interior when it comes to the fan in me that takes over when I watch Florida State. And that little 12 or 13-year-old child just watched Florida State, beat Miami in a manner that was kind of inconceivable up until the final minute of the game.
Sure. All right, I got one more for you.
And it watched Jermaine Johnson throwing off its tackle literally into a spin cycle. And that's, just the humiliating plays that occur against Miami are my favorite plays that happen for this program. And that one will long be remembered.
Incredible. Somebody said you guys, and I didn't hear this, so correct me if I'm wrong, but somebody mentioned that on the Nolecast, you guys said that Florida State, based on what they're able to do or not do in the with quarterback recruiting, may try to work to convince Jordan to come back another year.
Yeah, I think that's legitimately possible. I mean, if I don't know, I mean, this is kind of like a backhanded compliment, but Jordan's a great player. I just don't know if he's an NFL player, and if he is, that's awesome, and I hope he proves me wrong and he turns into a 10-year vet or something like that. But if a guy can come back and get an NIL deal that pays him, $80, $90, $100,000 or something like that, and he can leave Florida State with a MBA. I mean, I'm not trying to take shots at people, but I hope you realize a lot of these guys that play in Canada get like $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. I mean, it is a tough ass thing on your body and not a whole lot of money to show for it. And if Jordan isn't going to be an NFL player, I think staying at Florida State, getting $100,000, having a whole hell of a lot of fun, and maybe leaving with some kind of advanced graduate program to put you on a different path in life would be a compelling argument that you might be able to make towards him.
I'm going to ask you a really tough one to follow that one up. How effective do you think they'll end up being? Then does it maybe depend on how truly good his year is this year?
Yeah, no, I mean, if Jordan plays himself out of this conversation, that's certainly a trade that you would make, right? Like if you're like, damn, he's just too freaking good this year, we're not going to be able to convince him to come back. Well, then for the long term of the program, that's probably a great short-term problem to have. But it's tough. We weren't saying that with absolute certainty. It's just a very legitimate possibility, in our opinion. I mean, Jordan, yes, he's been in college for a long time, and yes, he would probably love to try to get paid in the NFL. But if that doesn't appear as though it's a legitimate avenue, I do think that I do think the NIL is a little bit of a game changer on the back end of these guys' career as well, both for keeping them there when maybe they have a third or fourth round grade, and in one year or one instance, and in another, maybe convincing somebody that is it better to come back for a fifth or sixth year rather than go and try to play wide receiver in Canada or something like that.
Right. I lied. I love hypotheticals. I can't not ask hypotheticals. So if you start your DM with very odd question, I will almost always ask it on these spaces. So, it could just be about a recruit and you could just say very odd question. I might refer you to, send that to another odd person that covers recruiting in this fan base. But moving on from that, very odd question for both you and Ingram. What would be more surprising to you guys? 10-2 with the losses being to Louisiana and Duquesne, or 6-6 with the wins, including NC State, Clemson, Florida, LSU, and Miami?
No, I mean, if Florida State loses to Duquesne, you need to literally fire Mike Norvell before he steps off the field. I mean, I don't look. Obviously, we've all had a large dose of reality over the past couple of years as to Florida State playing lesser teams isn't a guaranteed win, and at times it can even be a program-shaking loss. But Duquesne is not at the level of any of these programs that Florida State has played over the past couple of years and potentially struggled with. I mean, it is legitimately You can appreciate this having gone to school in Virginia, TJ. I mean, it's legitimately like a school that I went to, or like Hampton-Sydney, who has 1,200 students should be playing or something like that. I mean, it's not a college football program that really has any business playing a program like Florida State. So if you lose to Duquesne, it's the most unfathomable loss in the history of the program, and it's by far the weirdest of events that transpire in that hypothetical.
Yeah, can't. I don't worry at all about that one, right? And again, if we end up having to have that conversation, then that's going to be Sam will probably host that space for us, guys. But yeah, that'll be a tough one. But yeah, I just don't. I'm not worried about that at all. No, I mean, is there a doomsday scenario where Florida State loses Jordan Travis early and then you drop 3 games in a row to LSU, Louisville, and Boston College? I mean, sure, and then you have the tough schedule coming up. But yeah, I don't worry about the Duquesne 1%. Like I'm literally taking my 4-year-old there because I'm just literally trying to go and have a good time and chill, and leave at halftime so that she can get home and sleep in her own bed that night. So yeah, I'm nervous about Duquesne 0%. And if we end up losing it, again, then Sam will host the space, not me.
Yeah. Sam will trend again and have 29,000 people in a space. Yeah. So good for him. Is this going to be like one of those Kane spaces where we stay up till 6 a.m. and just all go to sleep listening to each other breathe, or just like something that runs for 8 hours in a row and 2 assholes are still arguing at each other at 4 a.m?
They're the most embarrassing group of people. So I sent out a pretty obvious troll tweet today. Hey, we got 12 minutes left. If you order from Gramco, I'll talk about the Canes being losers, and then I'll get the furthest thing from a loser in this fan base, and that's Trey Rowland. But if you order from Gramco in the next 12 minutes, you get a free giveaway. Florida State got to commit tonight, so we like to do giveaways for commits. thegramco.com, TJ25. Save yourself 25% and get something free tonight. But yeah, I posted a pretty obvious troll this morning that had a couple of sources confirmed to me that Miami did in fact play the war chant at practice on their first day of fall camp. And when Mario Cristobal was asked about it, he mentioned that you're always wanting to win a Super Bowl, and so Florida State is the game that they're concerned about, right? So a couple of trolls in once, right? Like something that
what the fuck are you guys doing?
Dude, let us live. But anyway, those losers have been.
What is this right now? What is this thing? What are you doing?
Dude, we're just all on scotch and hanging out, bro. Let us live. Go take care of those 8 kids you got.
What's the bat signal emergency that you fucking degenerates are having to space right now on a late Friday night?
Bro, we got to commit tonight. You didn't see that?
Families. Your families. What are you doing?
My kids.
Did you accidentally stumble into this space while looking for your family or something?
Yeah.
A vivid and vibrant social life. And somebody texted me, hey, you've had a couple Miller Lights. Get on the space.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
so
JK, there's nobody
degenerate corn
right
asshole
now,
truth comes
and
out.
you're having a space. What is wrong with you people?
Why are you in the space?
Because out of morbid curiosity.
Well, that's why we're here too.
No, you're not. You're pimping fucking Delta 7 shit.
Delta 8. Get it right.
I think it sounds like Trey may be ready to do his own instant reaction podcast.
I can instantly react to my nuts.
This is definitely the after dark part. It took an hour to get here, but folks, we've made it.
You've been on here for an hour?
Bro, your coworker was on for like 45 minutes.
Blostein gave us like a 40-minute dissertation on recruiting.
Oh,
so.
Jesus Christ. I mean, listen, I don't even blame you. That kid's got some very low baritone, like dulcet tones. Like you probably just like snake enchanted to listen to him for so long.
He would be a good voice to fall asleep to.
Bullshit for an hour?
Trey, I feel ashamed to tell you this, but yeah, I mean, yeah, we have a little over an hour and 14 minutes to be exact.
Guys, man, I love you, but what are we doing here? What happened? We got a running back or some shit?
4-star high school running back. I mean, when was this?
Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, that's like Haley's comment. Okay,
yeah, exactly.
Trey shit on us.
The
like
comment is it comes every 70 years. Like, yeah, that's a good comment. Okay, yeah. I guess I get it, you fucking losers. Okay.
Yeah. How were those Miller Lights? Those go down pretty easy. What'd you do tonight?
Crisp, dude. I was at a themed house party and I dressed like the Undertaker.
Nice.
They may or may not pics be floating to the internet. Probably not.
I gotta check the Facebook, see if you get tagged in anything, so I can bring these over to Twitter.
All right. Well, I'm leaving now. I just want to let you know that everybody else in here should feel great about themselves, minus TJ and Ingram. You're fucking dorks, bro. So just like live with it and enjoy yourself.
I always give Trey like the most compliments, and like I'm always so nice to him. But those Miller Lights have done something to him tonight.
Yeah, blew up in your face, nerd, didn't it?
See you, Trey.
I'm just kidding. I love you guys. Bye.
I love you too. Yeah, I remember my first beer too. Sometimes they make people angry. I'm more of a happy drunk, like Ingram. Like I think that, but Trey just kind of goes the other way. So
yeah, sad little man. got a little clout in his step because he's interviewed 2 or 3 people, and now he's getting drunk on Miller Lite and talking shit. So, we'll deal with that.
I hope his next one-on-one interview no shows. Oh man, shout out to Gramco, shout out to Garnet and Gold, garnetandgold.com, spaces 15. I don't know how long that tax-free thing lasts, so you better go get your order in tonight in case it's the midnight cutoff. I don't know, maybe I should know the laws in my state and the programs that go on, but you know that'd be a lot to do. I got to focus on recruiting. Garnetandgold.com, spaces 15 saves you 15% there. Gramco, thegramco.com, TJ25 will save you a quarter of your order there as well. Not to rhyme that so well, but and then primetime 2121, Tony Perez at DSP Insurance. See if he can save you some money on car insurance, home insurance, life insurance, whatever you got going on. So hit up my guy, shoot me a DM. The last thing I got, Ingram, and then if you want to plug anything or say anything before you get out of here, if you're going to the Duquesne game, I've got a tailgate set up. I think it's going to be sponsored by Rising Spear. So shout out to folks at Rising Spear. Let me get you the info in a DM if I haven't gotten like an official edit yet or anything like kind of made for that. But shoot me a DM if you're going to the Duquesne game and you want a nice chill tailgate right up next to the stadium at the Heritage Fountain. For those that don't know, that's right outside the box office by the baseball field. So it's right there by the Oaks where like the Animals tailgate, the circus is right there, and it's literally next door to the stadium. If you're going to the Duquesne game, hit my DMs and I'll hook you up with a tailgate there. Ingram, you got anything before we get out of here? Trey made me feel bad. I got to shut it down.
Awesome. Oh, fuck. The day that I worry anything about Trey Rowland's thoughts or feelings. But no, massive pickup tonight. Just need to. I know we as a program and coaching staff love the portal, but you got to start signing high school skill guys and picking up a legitimate running back tonight. It's a great get, and again, you're not going to put it together a class that's going to challenge a top 5 or something like that, but you're grabbing great pieces, and I think Florida State's kind of figured out how to box clever, so to say, in the NIL deal and try to moneyball it into positions that they think are worthwhile. And I think the next look, it could all go south with some bad results this year as far as having to rebuild and redo a coaching staff. But I'm fairly confident that the next 2 or 3 years are going to be a level of fun and enjoyment for a fan base that has been nothing but repetitively kicked in the nuts for 5 years now. So I think the future is bright, and tonight was but a small piece of it.
Yeah. You mentioned the 5-year mark. You just have a way with words, but I don't even remember half of it, but I just remember the kick to the nuts part, which, it's certainly been the feeling for.
I mean, wouldn't it be great as a content creator, TJ, to not be producing a podcast after starting 0-4 per se?
Bro, I talked about this the other day on the timeline. Like I've never felt the day I feel like Spaces or Double Fries No Slaw or any of that stuff is a job. Like I'll quit. Like I legitimately love making content. I love cutting out these dumb thumbnails that I'm putting on YouTube. I love editing video. I really love doing this. Like, Trey comes on. I know he's joking, but like he comes on and like, what do you guys do? Like my kids are all asleep. My wife's laying down. Like she was tired. She went to bed. Like I love doing content. The only time that I wanted to call in sick was after the Jacksonville State game. Like I was like, I just have nothing to say. Like I have no, like I put a positive spin on that Notre Dame one. I was fine after Louisville and Wake Forest. That Jacksonville State game, bro, like, woof, I had nothing to say there.
No, there's no words to say. I think I turned in like an 8-minute instant that night. And that was probably 5 minutes too much. But
it was so
yeah.
bad.
Here's to us not having to give soul-crushing, depressing instant reaction podcasts. Or if we are, it's because perhaps the team lost a game of importance and not got nationally humiliated by losing to a shit program in week 2. But no, better times on the horizon. Great pickup tonight. TJ, Spaces is awesome. We're spoiled as a fan base when you listen to some of these others, and we'll meet again soon, I'm sure.
Good stuff. Thank you, Ingram, for hanging out. Thank you, Blostein, for coming on here earlier. Big pickup for Florida State. Up in the top of the space, there is a tweet with a link to the YouTube. Again, Ingram and a bunch of other guys are going to be on a panel with us on Sunday night. Maybe we'll have more recruiting to talk about then, but we're going to talk a ton about the team and expectations and things coming down the pike in the fall. Smash that YouTube link, smash the subscribe button, and let's get that thing to 1K as soon as we can. So thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for Gramco, Garnet and Gold, DSP Insurance, all those that tuned in and listened. We really, really appreciate you guys. Had fun tonight, had a bunch of laughs. Go troll a Miami fan because they're losers. See you guys later. Go Noles.